Hey guys, this is Michał from mdbootstrap.com, and today we are going to create something really cool. We will build an Apple-like weather app that changes the background depending on the weather. And right now it's snowing in Warsaw and I can confirm it by looking out the window. But let me hard code it for a second. And this is how it looks when it's cloudy, when it's raining, when there is a fog, and when the sky is clear. We'll use for this project Open Weather Map API and free material design for Bootstrap UI kit. Alright, let's start coding. To create a weather app, of course, we need a weather data, and we can get this by using one of available free weather API. I have used Open Weather, so go to their website, and first we need to generate API key. Click API and click subscribe, and click get free API key. After this, register. After registration, you need to generate your API key. So click on your login, my API keys, and let's name it my app or something, whatever you want, and click generate. It will take something like 15 minutes before your API key became valid, so you need to wait this time, but later you can use this key to get access to the data. Now let's download Mdb Ui kit. Go to mdbootstrap.com, click big red download button once again, unzip it, and open it in your favorite code editor. As always, I am using Visual Studio Code. Alright, we are ready to code. To get the data, we need to create API call, and we will use this one call API. So let's click on doc, and here we have an example how this call should look like. So we need to provide a geographical coordinates, that is latitude and longitude. We need to provide, of course, our API key, and we can also exclude the data we don't need. And in this project, we don't need minutely and alerts. Let's create our API call. Let's copy this, and our API key should be already ready. So let's copy this and put it here instead of API key. Now we need a longitude and latitude of the place where we want to check the weather. I live in Warsaw, so I will use this geographical coordinates for the Warsaw. So we can just Google this. Warsaw, longitude and latitude. And here is latitude. And longitude. And let's exclude this and this. And now let's copy this, and we can check if it works. And yes, we have our data. Great, now we can use this in our project. One more thing, because I live in Europe, I will use a metric system, so we need to provide one additional option in our API call, and this is units with metric value. So we can add this here, equal to metric And let's see if it works. And yes, it works. And we have, for example, Celsius degrees instead of Fahrenheit. Alright, we can move further. Now let's go back to our code editor. So we can close this. Open index.html and remove the existing content. Let's close unnecessary tabs. I will leave only API call. And let's open index.html in the browser. Also, we'll need console. Whoop. And now we are ready to start writing our code. At the beginning, it's a good idea to divide your API call into smaller parts. So, in the script sections, let's declare a few variables. Well, let's paste it for a second here. And let's comment this API call. Let query URL, and it will be this part. Let latitude, and here goes latitude. Let lon as longitude, let API options, units metrics, exclude minutely and alerts. And of course, our API key. Now we can combine all these variables into single call. So I will name it file because we will fetch this later as a file. I'm sorry. Query URL plus lat plus lon plus API options plus API key. Let's remove this and we can move further. To make an API call in our project, we will use JavaScript Fetch API that allows web browser to make HTTP requests to web servers. So basically it just let us get data from our API to our project. So let's write the fetch function and we'll fetch the file which combines all the parts necessary in our API request. And response is JSON because this data is provided in the JSON format. Let's see if it actually works. I will try to console log all these objects. Data, and here are our data. And now let's try to console log the temperature. So data, current temp. And here it is. Everything works as expected. Before we start working on design of our app, we'll fetch all the necessary data. So we'll fetch temperature, pressure, humidity, we'll fetch the weather for next few hours and for next few days. So let's do it right now. Let's comment this section as weather main data, and let's write let main we need this. Let's see if it works. Yes. Let description. And everything seems to work as expected. There is one thing we can improve. If we console log temperature, you can see here after decimal point there is a fractional part, and we want to round this to the nearest integer, and we can easily do it by using mathRound method. And right now it's 7. Alright. Now let's fetch the hourly data. So we'll need a temperature for a few next hours from now. So here is an hourly array. And let's comment a next section, weather hourly data, and let's declare a variable hour now, and the first item and array temperature. Let's see if it works. Yes. Let's refresh our call because it has changed since we started. It's okay. Let our 1, which stands for 1 hour after now, and we can now copy this a few more times. Alright, and now let's fetch a daily data. So the temperature for today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. Here we can search for daily array. And we actually have a temperature for today, so I'm not going to declare another variable. We will use this one later. So let's declare a variable for tomorrow. Tomorrow temp, and we will also use math round to round it to the nearest integer. Let day after tomorrow temp and we also need a main property to get an information what the general weather is. Alright, everything works as expected. Now we have most of the necessary data and we can start designing our app. So let's switch the tab to our index.html and let's create a Bootstrap grid. We'll start, of course, from the container and we will create a grid inside with a single column. And we'll use a flexbox to center this column. Deflex, justify, content center. Let's write something to see if it works. And here it is. And we can add some margin top and bottom to our container. I'm using my syntax just to add a margin on the y-axis, and right now here we have our margin. I'm removing this, and let's create a Bootstrap card. By the way, if you want to have all these cool shortcuts and snippets, I mean, when I start typing as Mdb, I have all useful components here. You can add an extension to Visual Studio Code. If you go to Mdb docs, and here in the Getting Started section, you can find VSC snippets. And here you can find an installation instruction and add all the useful snippets to your project. Alright, coming back to our app, let's remove this button. And let's remove this content because we don't need this. And also we don't need this. So what we need is a card header, card body, and another card body below. Let's comment this card header as a main current data. Here in the first card body we'll have hourly forecast, and in the second card body we'll display a daily forecast. Now let's create a wrappers for our data. Inside of the card header, let's create a paragraph with an ID wrapper name, and below with wrapper description, and below wrapper temp, and below goes span element pressure, and another span inside with ID wrapper pressure, and we can copy this and use it as a wrapper for humidity. And now we can catch all these wrappers by using JavaScript and put our data inside. So here let's write document get element by ID and wrapper description, inner HTML description, and here we have our description. One more thing, we can declare another variable here, declare name, and let's type a location that you want to show the weather for. I will use Warsaw. and let's catch another element, document get element by ID, wrapper temp, inner HTML temp. Here is our temperature, and let's add Celsius symbol here. All right. Actually, you can copy this a few more times. Pressure. And humidity. Oh, sorry, here. And let's also use our name variable. And the last one, it's not necessary. So here are our data, everything works as expected, and in the next steps we can start adjusting it to our target design, like here. We can add text center to the card header to center it. And now let's add a few classes to our paragraphs to style it properly. So I want this wrapper name to look like H2, and we'll add margin bottom 1 to the wrapper description. Let's also add margin bottom 1. And to the margin, wrapper temperature, let's add class display 1 to have a really big heading. And let's also set margin bottom to 1. And here, between pressure and humidity, we can add a divider with a margin on x-axis. Alright, and we can actually make this card a bit bigger by changing col MD5 to, let's say, 6. Alright, now it's better. And we can also add a bit stronger shadows by adding shadow 1 strong. Now it's more visible. Alright, now let's take care of hourly forecast section. Remove this empty space, and one more thing, we don't need this divider here because we'll add top and bottom divider to this card body section. So to remove this, we can add class border 0 to the card header element, and now it disappears. To create this kind of composition, we can use Bootstrap Grid with 6 columns inside. So here in the first card body section, let's create a grid. And again, I am using Mdb snippets. Strongly recommended. Alright, let's change all these classes with col 2. The same here. And let's copy this to have 6 columns inside. And now we need to create wrappers for our data. So let's create a strong element, actually two strong elements, and below let's create img element which will hold a weather icon, and in the first element let's type now, and as you can see our card is a bit too small, so we can't make it bigger. Once again, by changing this call md6 to call md7. So in the in the first strong element we'll display time. In the second strong element will display a temperature, and between them we will display an icon for the current weather. And we need to add an IDs for each of these elements apart from this first element in the first column now, because it always will be now, and all other hours will be will depends on actual time. So here let's add an ID wrapper icon hour now, and here ID wrapper hour now, and we can also add class display block to display strong element as a block, not inline. The same here, and let's add margin bottom to the first element. And let's copy this here, but in all other columns we need to remove this now text, and let's add an ID wrapper time 1, which stands for 1 hour after now, and here instead of wrapper icon hour now should be wrapper icon hour 1, and the same here. And now we can copy this to each column, and then change it properly. So wrapper time 2, wrapper icon hour 2, 3, 3, 3, and 5. And let's add dividers to the top and to the bottom of this card body section. So border top and border bottom. And now let's put the data to our wrappers. Document get element by ID and wrapper hour now inner HTML hour now And here is our temperature. And let's add the degree symbol. And we can center this. And one more improvement. We'll adjust the size of the card later. For now, I just made this a lot bigger, but we'll fix and adjust it later. Okay, and we can copy this wrapper our one. All right. Two, 3, 4, 5. Now let's take care of the time. We need to display a specific hours for each of these temperatures. So we need 5 hours after now. So to get the current time, we'll use new date and get hours method. So let's declare a variable time now, new date, get hours. And now let's increment this by 1. So let time 1 time now plus 1. And let's get the element, by ID, wrapper time 1, inner HTML time 1, and here it is, 11. So let's copy this. Time 2 equals time 1 plus 1, time 3, time 2 plus 1, time 4, time 3 plus 1, time 5, time 4 plus 1. And now let's put the content inside of the wrappers. Great, it works as expected. Now, daily forecast section. In the third card body section, let's create a row and call Mdb 6 and second column 2 and the third 4 units. Strong today. So in the first column there is a name of a current day. In the second column there is an icon, and in the third column there is a temperature. So again, let's create img element with an ID that we will use later when we when we will take care of icons. Wrapper icon today. And temperature ID wrapper forecast temp today. And let's copy this row 2 more times. Tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. Tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. And now let's place the data inside of these wrappers. So here we have our daily data. So right now we just need to catch the elements and put the data inside. Document get element by ID, wrapper forecast temp today, inner HTML temp. All right. Tomorrow. And day after tomorrow. Now we need to take care of icons. If you have a look at our API call and our data, here we have an icon property with a value which we can use to display an icon. Let's remove this console log and let's create a new section, icons, and let's declare a variable icon base URL, and to get icon in this from this data we need to use this specific URL. And now let's declare another variable for icon format, and we want it to be PNG. And now let's get an icon for today's weather. Let icon code today, and when you have a look at the data, here is an icon for today's weather. So data current weather array first item icon, let icon full URL today equals icon base URL plus icon code today plus icon format, and now document get element by ID wrapper icon today. We have created this element before, and now let's add src attribute to be equal to icon full URL today. Now let's see if our icon will appear, and here it is, icon. It works. Let's add another icons. Tomorrow. Let's copy this icon code tomorrow. Here we need to change it, should be daily array. Yes. So daily, the first object for first item for tomorrow, an icon. Oh, I forgot about the weather inside of daily. Weather 0. All right. And day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. And now icons for hourly weather. And here should be icon fully URL our now. My mistake. And now it works. And each icons works as expected. Now we can take care of our animated backgrounds. I have prepared a few animations for you, and of course they are not that beautiful as this from Apple Weather app, but they are still nice, and if you want you can find another one and adjust it to satisfy your needs. You can download it. I provided a link in description of this video, or you can use direct links which I will use when writing my code. So let's go back to our main card, and here we need to add an ID. Let's name it wrapper BG for background, and right now we can add style, background, image, URL, and now we need to provide a path to these animations. So in my project they are inside of img directory, and let's choose clouds and let's see how it works. As you can see, we need definitely improve this, and we can easily do it by adding a special class available in Mdb Ui kit, and that is BG image, and we should add this to the card element. Now it's better. And as you can see, we should change the color of typography to white. So let's change this by adding text white. Now it's better. So let's try out all these animations one by one. Let's see, clear, fog, rain, snow, and thunderstorm. This one is beautiful. Alright, so now we know it works, and we can add a JavaScript code to decide which background should be applied to the given weather. Let's back to our scripts. And let's create another section, backgrounds, and we will use a switch statement to decide which background should be applied to which weather. So switch, and we'll use a main variable. As you can see, here, main provide an information what actual weather is, and we can use this to decide what background should be applied. So switch, I wrote it incorrectly. Let me fix this. Switch, I cannot write. All right, now it's okay. Switch and case, snow, document, document get element by ID, wrapper bg, style background image equals to URL and right now you can add a path to the files on your computer if you downloaded the animation, or you can use this links available in the internet, because I uploaded this animation to the internet, so you can choose which way is better for you. And break word and another case. Let me copy this a few more times. Clouds, clouds, fog, fog, rain, rain, clear, clear, thunderstorm, and the default case should be, well, you can choose what should be displayed if any of these options apply. In the open weather documentation, you can see available weather conditions code, and here, as you can see, the main property can have these values, and I am using this to decide which background should be applied to our app. And of course, I didn't cover all the possibilities because I haven't prepared so many animations, but it's an extra task for you to cover all of them and prepare backgrounds for all possible weather. Let's see if it actually works. For a second, let's hard code the main variable and assign a value to it. Main equals to, let's say, clouds. And yes, it works. So right now it's still snowing in Warsaw. So as you can see, the applied background is, well, snow. So it definitely works as expected. There are a few more small improvements we can apply to our app. For example, here in the daily forecast, we can add some extra padding on x-axis. Let's say padding 4, 5. All right. And we can also align all of elements to the center, and we can do it by using class align items center. Let's copy this to each row, and in the third row let's move the temperatures to the right corner. So text I'm sorry, not to the row, but to the third columns in each row. So it should be text and. All right. And we can also center the icon. So in the second column we can add text center class. Now it's okay, and we can also add some margin bottom to the card header to provide a bit bigger margin to the hourly forecast section. Margin bottom, let's say 2, 3 is okay. And what's more, we can, let's see how it works on a bigger screen. All right, so we can by using Bootstrap Grid properties, we can declare a specific breakpoints to our app. So let's say on bigger screens we want it to have a 6 units width. Let's see how it works on bigger screen. All right. And on medium screens we want it to have, let's say, 8, and on smaller screens we want to have 10 units. Responsive. And I think it's okay. Alright, our app is ready. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I hope you found this useful. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we publish a new useful video every few days. See you in the next tutorial.